Now, what we've got here is the Maglite. Everybody knows what these babies do. They're basically a hitting stick with a light on the end of them, and we just keep these in the car just because they're useful, because you can throw them under the arm and light them up. And if you ever do need them as a hitting stick, they're basically just sitting there. These are D-cell batteries. Back in the day, these were the best things going, and I remember the first time I ever saw one of these, I thought, wow, how bright are those? And you get flashed in the eyes with one of these. Back in the day, and used to think that was fairly bright, and you also kind of knew that you were about to get your head cracked by the smacking stick here. But times move on, and the Maglite's been sort of left in the dark. Now it really is just a hitting stick that can be used as a torch. Now we're looking at these babies. These are tactical lights. And basically this move started with the advent of the LED globes and the miniaturization of all the components, so that you could fit lights like these onto weapons, onto long guns or even pistols. Now, the one I bought first on recommendation from some people was the Fury here. The Fury is probably the brightest light you can buy at this point in time. It's if you're interested, it's 500 lumens at max setting. At 500 lumens, you can run it for about an hour and a half, and it also has a low setting, which will just it puts at basically the same power as one of these old Maglights used to, and it can run that for something like 46 hours. So basically 2 days. So it runs on the C123A batteries, which are the same batteries that you use in your pocket cameras, and they're lithium powered, and it takes 2 of those and just swap them out and put them in. Only use good batteries in these. A lot of the manufacturers also tell you don't even to use rechargeables. So just buy the energizers of the Duracells, and you won't go too far wrong. The biggest problem I have with this light is A, its size, and B, it's got a really weird user interface here, which I'll tell you about in a minute. The size of it, like, don't get me wrong, compared to a Maglite, it's very small, but you don't want to be carrying that around in your pocket, and there's no pocket clip or anything on it to make it comfortable, so you can carry it in your belt or anything like that. Now, what I have done is I've got a Maxpedition flashlight holder, which is basically built for lights of this size. But even when you put it into the Maxpedition flashlight holder, it's sort of right on the edge of what it would consider as a pocket flashlight, and that gives you a bit of an idea about the size of it. Of course, the Maxpedition, the quality of this is just sensational, and it'll attach to anything, either using the Molly connectors or the belt loops. And the Fury, I'm going to probably give this one to the Demon, and she can keep this in her purse because she's got a little bit more room in that than I've got in my pockets. And 500 lumens is very, very bright. If you're looking for something to use as a defensive weapon, anything more than 200 lumens is going to be enough. More than 300 lumens is just like blinding, and 500 lumens is just literally insane. I'll flash it into the camera in a minute and give you a feel for it. Hopefully I don't fry the circuits in the camera. Now, the biggest problem I have with this as a tactical weapon, though, is its user interface. And basically what they've done is a nice rubber button on the back, which lets you sort of hold it in the grip, so you can use it like that. And then it's also sort of, you can use it as an extra sort of punching weapon. But one click puts it to low beam, and you have to basically double click it to put it to high power. Now, if you're in a movie theatre like in Colorado, someone comes in running with a gun, you start either collecting your family and trying to move them out, or you start closing distance on the guy. You don't want to be fumbling with, is it one press, two press, oops, I clicked it wrong and now it's stuck on low beam, how do I get it to high beam? I'm trying, it's going to end in disaster unless you practice with it a lot. And just like everything else, you can't just practice with it, get good, and then forget about it. You have to practice with it, and then keep practicing with it to stay on top of your game. The other thing is, even if I put this in my bum bag, I have to fumble around in to get it out just because of the size. And that nothing is worse for a defensive weapon is that it's uncomfortable to carry, because just that time that you think, no, I'm not going to need it, I'll just leave it home because it's uncomfortable to carry, and then something happens, and then you haven't got it. So bought this. It's about runs for between $100 and $120, depends on where you get them from. So it's not cheap, but the craftsmanship, I've got no complaints. You can drop this on concrete, get it wet, drop it in the toilet, fish it out, sort of dry it off, and you're good to go. You can run a car over it, nothing's going to happen to that. It's all a really nice aluminium. It's not textured, but the grip here will mean that it's not going to slip out of your hands when you need it the most. And it's got enough weight that that sort of buys a little bit of confidence, if anything else. So all in all, not a bad light, but wasn't really what I was looking for. So that's going to be the Demon's personal weapon of choice. And that brings me to this little baby here, the Quark 123 squared Tactical X by 4Sevens. And I know that's a big mouthful, but if you on any internet search engine type 4Sevens lights, it'll bring up the website, or on Amazon or whatever. This is the Quark series, and then within the Quark series, this is the Tactical. And the 123 basically means it takes the C123 batteries, and the squared means it takes 2 of them. And what you're looking at here is, again, beautiful craftsmanship in terms of that black aluminium with the rubber cap on the back. Run over it with a car, drop it in the toilet, it's going to be fine. Drop it on concrete, no problems. Click the button, it's still going to work. The beautiful thing about this though is just the size. Both the length of it, the thickness of it, given that they take the same batteries, it's significantly thinner, and the actual profile of it, especially around the lens area, makes a huge difference. Again, this one does have textured grips just to help with when you've got sweaty hands, when things get a bit intense. And it's got a bolt clip here, so you can clip it into a belt, clip it into your pants, or this is small enough to carry in your pockets. Using the same belt harness here, if I put this in here, it's like too big. So you can buy a smaller size version of these flashlight holders for smaller lights, and you might want to think about doing that. I can always use this for a Leatherman or something like that anyway. But you really don't even need to buy one of those, because the great thing about the 4Sevens Quark series here is this runs you between $60 on special and $80. So very, very, very good buy, and it comes with spare O-rings for the insides, just so you can keep it really tip-top and keep it really waterproof. Comes with its own belt loop, which is pretty cool. Very small, very compact. If you look at the comparison here, and at the same time, this is 360 lumens, so it's not as bright as the Fury here. But as I said, anything above 200 is good enough. Anything above 300 is like you got to worry about burning people's retinas, basically. So 360 is more than enough, especially when you factor in the size. At full power, this is going to run for, again, about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit more. But the other difference on this one is it actually has more than one mode. So you've got the full power, you've got a thing called Moonlight, then you've got various low beam settings, and then you've got an SOS beacon mode as well. And you basically set them up via using the twisty dial on the front here and the back button kind of together. Now, it'll only let you really lock in 2 modes at once. So I've got in here the extra low beam, the moon beam, and the high beam. But again, they've really thought about how people use them. So what you do is you press it on or off, or you just can keep it pressed. You don't need to lock it. And then when it's going, you just twist the front to tell it to change modes. So high beam to low beam to high beam, which is really neat. You set it up so that when you flick it around, it'll either change to the intensity that you've set it for, or the SOS mode, and then you can flip it back. On the moonbeam mode, which is the secondary mode here, which again is the same output as this Maglite with D cells in it, it'll run for 25 days, and that just goes to show how far the LED and the globe technology has come. So I've tried to keep this video review nice and short, just to give you a feel for why these are pretty cool. Again, 60 to 80, 100 to 120, and these things, you can pick up copies and everything these days. I've got the real deal, and to be honest, I can't even remember how much that was. What that was, probably something around the range between 20 and 50 bucks. Thanks for watching. I'll do some shots up and down the hallway. Any questions or queries, just put them in the comments below, and take it easy, guys. Have a good night.